Super Lucky Disaster Man. Chapter 1, Night Bar Talk. Speaking of which, last night, I met an interesting person. He even borrowed my cell phone to call the police. Tokyo Ginza Lupin Bar, Port Mafia's most promising executive to be, Dazai Osamu, suddenly said so while chatting with his friends. Friends number 1, Oda Sakanosuke casually continued, "What happened?" "It's kidnapping, kidnapping." Dazai Osamu knocked on his own cup. The group of kidnapper hired the Port Mafia warehouse. I saw the scene, a total of 4 kidnappers. At that time in the warehouse there were only 3, one was hit by a light. The autopsy said that he had a blood boil in his head. He must have died on the spot after being crushed. The remaining 2 were crushed to death by the falling object of a container. Only the kidnapped person was fine. Friends number 2, Sakaguchi Ango supported his glasses, speculated, "Is it an ability?" "This is the most interesting thing," Dazai Osamu said with sparkling eyes. "I checked, everything is accidental. The light is naturally aging and broken, the container is not of good quality, the side can't withstand the pressure inside and cracked. In short, no matter how you look at it, it's all a coincidence." "Then it's probably a coincidence," Oda Sakanosuke said dryly. Sakaguchi Ango thought a little more. "Is there something wrong with that kidnapped person? Otherwise, Dazai, you wouldn't intentionally go to the scene, and intentionally have them do an autopsy." Dazai Osamu snapped his fingers. "Ango really understands me, that's right, that person looks very interesting." The situation last night when he met that silver-haired youth, it often replays in Dazai Osamu's mind until now. He originally just wanted to jump a sea, but because he heard a loud noise coming from a certain warehouse, Dazai Osamu immediately excitedly took a look. The situation in the warehouse was as he described to his friends. However, what he did not say is, at that time that kidnapped youth was laughing. He laughed loudly like a madman, using all his strength, hysterical. The laugh is filled with anger and madness, but it did not have a trace of happy due to the kidnappers' death that allowed oneself to escape alive. It is better to say, the other party did not pay any attention to the warehouse incident. Even when Dazai Osamu stands in front of him, the pair of eyes was so disintegrated that it did not even reflect Dazai Osamu's figure into it. The teenager's whole body from top to bottom all radiated almost out of control arrogance, violently releasing the intense emotions in his heart towards the outside world. Even Dazai Osamu, who was closely watching him, seemed to be infected by his emotions, feeling tremble because of this insanity and madness. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. What Why am I still alive If it's like that, am I not a failure? Not me who have not become hope. Why am I not dead, not dead, not dead? Dazai Osamu grabbed the teenager's hair, causing the youth to raise his head due to being tied tightly and sitting on the ground, unconsciously looking straight at him. This seemingly younger than Dazai Osamu teenager had a pair of rare blue-gray eyes. Inside remained Dazai Osamu very familiar things. This gaze. His spirit, as if still remaining in the face of death, has not returned to this world. Judging from what he said just now, he had failed. Compared to existence, he seems to hope that he has died. So, what's the problem with that kidnapped person? His friend's words suddenly interrupted Dazai Osamu's recollection of last night. Its best part was when the police were called. Dazai Osamu refocused his attention, then continued to say, "We just reported the name, the police actually recognized who he is. It appears that because he often calls for an emergency, the police have all heard of him." Frequent callers of the police? Sakaguchi Ango's mouth corners trembled. Could it be that he was also often kidnapped before? Is he from a rich family? I investigated more later. It was more interesting than I had imagined. It really can be filmed into a Hollywood blockbuster. Dazai Osamu said with great interest. The first biggest accident he encountered was during elementary school. He and his parents were on a plane when they encountered a group of hijackers. How do you think this incident was resolved in the end? Oda Sakanosuke thought for a moment. A passenger with an ability saved everyone? Dazai Osamu shook his head. A meteorite fell from the sky and hit the hijackers. Oda Sakunosuke. Sakaguchi Ango, this is really unbelievable. But, why does this incident sound a bit familiar? It's no wonder it sounds familiar. The probability of a plane being hit by a meteorite and crashing is too small. A few years ago there was a lot of news coverage, the whole world talked about it. When he mentions that, Oda Sakunosuke also had an impression, I remember that there seemed to be only one survivor, a little child. That's right, it's the person who was kidnapped yesterday. Called Komaeda Nagito, his parents died in the plane crash that time. Dazai Osamu said cheerfully. The atmosphere was a bit silent for a moment, but Dazai Osamu didn't care, and continued speaking. After this incident, he obtained a huge inheritance from his parents, a child having a huge fortune, everyone understands the consequences, so he was kidnapped. Not just this time. Sakaguchi Ango sighed because of this ups and downs in fate, to be able to live peacefully until now, it's really not easy. After that, he picked up a lottery ticket from a kidnapper's plastic bag, and won the grand prize of 300 million yuan. Oda Sakunosuke. Sakaguchi Ango, generally speaking, when separate this seems like nothing, but when it focuses on the same person, then this is a bit strange, it's really not an ability. Right? Actually there's more, he usually encounters all kinds of good things in his daily life, although there are also bad encounters, but he himself is still safe and alive until now. Dazai Osamu suddenly raised his voice, so, the question is. If he has an ability, what will his ability be? Sakaguchi Ango spat, maybe it is the same as something with a button, press once and the person next to him dies, then he can receive up to 100,000, this kind of everyone around him has bad luck, and only him has good luck type of ability. So there is this kind of ability. Oda Sakunosuke sighed. I am joking. Just now it was definitely a case of satire. So that's it. Forget it. What does Dazai think? Dazai Osamu's tone was gentle. I feel that his ability might be 100% survived from an accident. Oda Sakunosuke nodded. Sounds very useful. I was also joking. Dazai Osamu was a little discouraged. Actually I guess his ability is disaster removal, and so on. The general probability is still not under his control, it's a passive ability. Indeed, the people around him are also too unlucky. Sakaguchi Ango expressed agreement. Dazai Osamu concluded, if it is used properly, it will be very useful, this kind of ability. However, he himself probably won't be happy. Sakaguchi Ango explained, that's right, after all, his parents were probably killed by him. It's still not certain whether it's an ability. Oda Sakunosuke calmly said, maybe it's just his own good luck. Dazai Osamu poked the ice cube down, this kind of luck that can let people around welcome sudden death. How interesting, if we can meet again, it would be great.